David Stockdale here, 1-3, from Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, which by my calculations is probably somewhere around 17 or 18. I'm not certain, but I'm not counting anymore either, so it doesn't matter. Bob's back from America.
Hello!
Good to have you back.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Although it was quite nice doing it with you know, that we still could technologically with you so far away.
Well, this is the thing. You know, if we hadn't actually mentioned that I was in America, nobody would know.
No,
they would just think that I'd been here all the time.
Yeah. Did you have a good trip?
Oh, it was very good, thank you. Yes.
Thanks.
Well, I wasn't
an award-winning travel log.
I wasn't sure how much you wanted to
no, just
know
that.
about it. I didn't want to turn it into one of those Michael Palin programmes.
No, but we could do one, couldn't we, at some point?
We could, yes.
That'd be nice.
You and I across America.
Bob's trips. Coming up, we'll be hearing from manager Gareth Ainsworth reflecting on the game at Sheffield Wednesday, which feels a long time ago now, but 7 points from a possible 9 in recent games has been quite a good return.
Which puts us rather nicely in third position at the moment, joint top, along with Rotherham and Wigan on 38 points, albeit we have played 2 games more than Wigan and 1 game more than Rotherham.
But the league table looking very good at the moment.
It is indeed, and yes, we are 2 points clear off Plymouth in 4th place.
And the big news this week, of course, Anis signs.
Woohoo!
Anis signs, that sounds like a little company, doesn't it?
It does, yes. Yes, he's opened up a new business in Booker. For all of your sign needs, go and see Anis. That's what he does when he's not playing football.
In fact, a lot of the letters
really
in Anis are in signs as well, aren't they?
I think the good news about it is, even if we don't actually keep him until 2024, at least it means that we get some money if a big club does then come in for him.
I was going to say, I did see on social media someone put either we're in for a big payday or we'll get a lot of an exciting player for a long time.
And either way is absolutely fine, I think, probably with all of us.
Absolutely. We'll hear from the exciting 20-year-old in a few moments' time as well. Also, this hour, we'll hear from Gareth again, looking ahead to, what he'll be doing this weekend. And also, we'll catch up with Keith Mead, former defender who spent 9 years at the club.
What is Gareth doing this weekend? Like a bit of gardening, going DIY?
Well, I should really say, listen to later in the show and you'll find out.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yes, you should. Yeah.
But he might well be going to watch some football, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Either AFC Wimbledon or Burton.
Yeah.
First, though, let's look back at events at Hillsborough, which at first it looked like it wasn't even going to go ahead. They had a pitch inspection at 1:20.
What is going on with regards to the weather? I've spent the whole time in America telling people that actually, because everybody assumes that the weather's really awful in England, that, no, actually, it's not too bad at this time of year. And then, of course, I discovered that, yes, it snowed and the game was nearly off, which slightly made a mockery of what I was saying. But anyway, at least the game did go ahead. And I think it was all right. I think a 2-2 draw. In the end, a 2-2 draw against Sheffield Wednesday, not too bad. Anis scoring, of course.
Anis signs.
Anis signs, indeed, yes. Putting us ahead before Sheffield Wednesday then scored 2. But Jordan Abita rescuing us with a free kick after 65 minutes, ensuring that the points were halved.
I'm sure it's not recommended, but that's quite a nice way of doing it, isn't it? So you take the lead, and then you sort of fight back at the end.
Yeah, I think that's, there's a sort of formula, isn't there, for the perfect game?
Yes.
How you can come out happy as a fan. And I think you're absolutely right that, yeah, if it's going to be a drawn game, you definitely want to score last.
I think if I was the manager, though, I'd prefer about 4 goals just before half-time, maybe add 2 in the second half and then job done.
Yeah, well, that would be very nice. But I think also on that formula, you need to play a sent-off and a penalty as well in there.
And then 7 minutes added on at the end.
Yes. And a bad ref that everyone can agree is not very good.
So there were a few other sort of side issues to the game as well. There was a medical emergency.
Yes.
There's been quite a few of those recently. And also...
And I possibly will regret saying this, it might sound awful. But it's almost as if medical emergencies... What used to happen? Because this never used to happen. The games didn't used to get stopped for medical emergencies. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
No.
It's just suddenly... You're noticing it all the time. Obviously, there were 2 last night in the Premier League.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, I wonder if it's because, football fans have been quite out of condition for the last 18 months. And all of a sudden they're exerting themselves on the terraces.
Suddenly they're thinking, oh, my goodness me, it's a long way to walk, up all of those stairs. I don't know. Or is it that the medical teams of teams never used to get involved, and now they are, which is brilliant. And if you've obviously got that medical expertise, and they do sort of slightly say, if you are going to have particularly a cardiac arrest, which was one of the things that happened last night, I think at Vicarage Road,
yes,
was if you have it at a football stadium, it's quite a good place to have it.
Yes,
because
indeed.
You've got the defibrillators there, you've got the medical expertise, so that is,
there's usually an ambulance not too far away.
And there's normally an ambulance not too far away. And if you're at Vicarage Road, well, you've got a hospital right next door.
Exactly.
So yes, but I don't know. It's suddenly it's this season's thing, isn't it?
Absolutely,
medical
yes.
emergencies interrupting games.
It's like the new VAR.
Indeed. But
with different letters.
All the very best to all the people who've been involved in medical emergencies at football. So yes, so the game was held up, but for not too long, and then eventually resumed. I think there were 9 minutes of added on time at the end of the first half, which for Wycombe Wanderers is par for the course, really, isn't it?
And it was quite breezy up at Hillsborough as well, which you might detect when Gareth spoke to Phil afterwards.
Gareth, a battling point here in tough conditions in a great stadium.
Yeah, my boys this week have showed both sides of the game. Some fantastic football at Plymouth, plenty of shots and tactical nous. And then coming here, I'm hoping you can hear that wind on the microphone. It's absolutely freezing cold. The game was nearly called off before, and the pitch was horrendous. The conditions were terrible. If I'm honest, Sheffield Wednesday, they took the spoils second half. Can't argue with that. But my fans never stop singing. David Stockdale never stopped saving, and we take a point home. It's been a fantastic week, 3 games in a week and 7 points taking home. It's brilliant.
Spin back to the first half. Wycombe were doing Wycombe things in that first half period and got themselves ahead, got the crowd frustrated, but then there's an incident in the stand which brought about a 7-minute delay, and it seemed to really invigorate Sheffield Wednesday after the restart.
Yeah, we really thought that that played a big part in today. There was a momentum change. We talk a lot about momentum in football, and we were definitely on the ascendancy. We were playing some fantastic stuff around the edge of their box, and after the break we seemed to lose it a little bit. Maybe it was one of those things. And you have to deal with that, and Sheffield definitely came out and looked good, and the goal just before half time, really disappointing for us, but to come back the way we did, fantastic free kick from Jordan. He's got a brilliant left foot there, and him and JJ competing for that left back role. Yeah, brilliant to see that fly in. Didn't create as much as we have done today. I actually thought I had a few tired legs, Phil, today. I think the momentous effort that they give me over the last 3 games is just, it's taking its toll on legs and taking its toll on injuries. Let's say like Josh Scowen and one or two others. Curtis Thompson's playing through. Patched up and Sam Bolts, and there's a few legs need resting. We haven't got the ability to change up like Darren Moore did before the game. He's made plenty of changes in his team. I haven't got the ability to do that. But I don't want the ability to do it. I'm really happy where we are with our squad. We just need this 10-day break now before Burton to get everyone fresh again, and looking forward to going into this winter period with with an exciting look at how many teams we've played away from home already. They've all got to come to us now. Seems to be a lot of the top boys we've played away from home, which is great. We're good at home. We played some entertaining stuff. Gareth McCleary got plenty more minutes under his belt. Anis Mehmeti learning plenty of lessons today. Even Ollie Pendle we pulled up before the game. A real honest. Such a young man to say, Gaffer, I don't want to let the boys down today. I picked something up at Plymouth, and don't stick me on the bench. It's brilliant what we've got here. It really is, the maturity of that boy. So yeah, we're looking forward to the break. We'll be working hard, but I've given the lads 1 or 2 days off now because they deserve it, and I think they can all have a gathering together and celebrate what they've done so far this season, because Wycombe Wanderers certainly have surprised a lot of people.
A midweek trip to Plymouth and then a long trip on a Saturday to Sheffield Wednesday. I'm guessing you'd have taken 4 points at the beginning of the week from those 2 trips if it was offered to you.
I might have took 2, Phil, you never know, because it's staying unbeaten was important, but to get the 3 at Plymouth in such an emphatic way was brilliant, and I think that people will have short memories and think we weren't as good as we were at Plymouth today, but still, the sign of a team that might achieve something is a sign that picks things up when they're not at their best. They gave me everything, the boys, today, but I think it was another tough away trip, and it has taken its toll. But we'll be back really strong, and the rest will do us good next week. I have an unbelievable set of boys who I'll run through a brick wall for them, never mind them for me, and that's what we are here. Can't wait to get in the warm now and tell them how proud I am of them, but tell them not to go crazy with these days off, because we're going to be working hard at the end of next week for Burton Albion at home. It's a Tuesday game. We want to get back to winning ways at Adams Park and back up the Bolton victory, but so far so good here, yeah.
I'm gathering from what you're saying that this Saturday off now because of the FA Cup weekend not involving Wycombe, that's a good thing for some players at this stage of the season.
Definitely, it's needed for us. It's come at the right time. It's not as though we didn't try to get through the FA Cup. I mean, the amount of chances we had against Hartlepool, but every cloud and the silver lining is a weekend off where I think we can get a few legs back. Josh Scowen obviously has been missing of late, and he's huge for us, and so one or two others will, like I said, they were patched up today. There's a few medical and painkillers and anti-inflammatories knocking about before the game today, because the boys really are, they're banged up and given me everything, especially in the two last games. So to come away here, like I say, get a point, I'd have took that before the game, but I might have took 3 when we went 1-0 up. It was great. Fans were brilliant. Thank you so much. Came in numbers, and I think there's a lot of respect between the two clubs, especially after their promotion back in 2012. I think we celebrated it with them. Hopefully both teams are happy with the point today.
It's interesting, isn't it? Is it the 2 points dropped, or is it the 1 point gained?
I think it's probably in this a point gained.
No, absolutely. And you see where Sheffield Wednesday are as well, not far behind us in the table. And obviously they're a big club. Their under-soil heating obviously doesn't work very well. Perhaps they don't have any.
It's just for show. It's like one of those burglar alarms that doesn't actually work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always think as well, people have, this is going off topic slightly, but people have, I've noticed recently, or it's just prompted my memory, that when I used to do paper rounds, people used to have signs on saying beware of the dog, but I didn't have a dog.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Whereas,
don't get me onto dogs, though.
Okay, sorry.
Or dog leads.
We have a sign saying beware of the dog.
Yeah, but actually, 4, though.
I was going to say it works the other way, because we say beware of the dog in the hope that maybe you'll think, oh, well, I'm going to break into that house because you've only got 1 dog, and then surprise, we've actually got 4.
Attacking from all angles.
Indeed, yes.
You should put an S on the end of your sign for dogs.
I know. I often think that actually I should do like a little vandalised thing.
Beware of the pack of dogs.
They wouldn't attack you, actually. They'd snog you to death.
Oh, I don't like that either. That's not the way I want to go. The big news of the week being the securing, I think is a good word, of the services of Anis Memeti till 2024.
Hooray!
This really is exciting, because I'd spoken to fans who are thinking, the January transfer window's coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
Other clubs will be sniffing around like Bob's dogs.
All of that. I think ever since we've seen Anis play, those first couple of games where in the Championship early on, way back when in that, how many games was it that we went, without even getting a point? But Anis was really the shining star in those games, and straight away you were thinking, oh wow, I can remember particularly away at Carrow Road, where obviously, he started out at Norwich anyway, and he was brilliant that day, absolutely brilliant, and thinking exactly what you're saying. Looking at him thinking, I wonder how long we can keep him for. We'll be lucky if we keep him to the end of the Championship season. The fact that we've still got him now, and now we've got him until 2024.
See, that's why we have you on the show. You've been to Carrow Road, you've seen Anis in action.
He was great. He was really good that
What
day.
is it that stands out the most? Is it just his pace, or is it just...
No, I think it's the skill level as well. I think it's those two things. I think it's, it's the pace, but he's also got the skill, and he's got sort of the trickery that, particularly in League One, not all players have, but you can definitely see that actually one day he probably will go on to
a sign company and make signs.
Shall we just say he'll probably go on to other things?
Oh.
Yeah, but because you could say bigger and better, but no, I'm not going to say that, because clearly he's been signed with us still doing this thing that we're doing this season of saying, well, actually, do you know what, Wycombe Wanderers, we aspire to be, and in all areas we're trying to be a Championship club. Yes, okay, we're in League One playing at the moment, but actually the structure of the club is like a Championship club, and I think Anis, that's why we've signed him.
And great that we've got a little sort of superstar that feels sort of a homegrown product as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. He never actually made a first team appearance at Norwich, so he's not really theirs. He's one of our own, even though he's from Albania.
Shortly after putting pen to paper, he spoke to Matt.
Cast your mind back to September 2020, I think it was. You stood on the pitch with 3 of the other development squad lads, the gaffer, Sam Grace. What was going through your mind at that time, clinching that contract, first of all?
At the beginning, I was so happy to be here. I think it's the right club for me. I always had a vision that I was going to break through, and I worked so hard last season to break through, and And as much as I had a very good season last year, I learned a lot with the boys, and I couldn't thank the boys enough of what they've taught me over the past year and a half.
Talk through how the move came about in the first place, because obviously you've tasted academy life with Norwich, you've played men's football in non-league with Woodford, two very different experiences, but do you feel they've helped you, make it here at Wycombe?
Yeah, I think obviously non-league's got its pros and cons, and obviously academy football from the age of 7 is always a bonus. But yeah, no, I've been in academy since I was 7, progressed. I was at Fulham, Tottenham, Norwich. Then I had like a few months out, just enjoying my football again, and then I come here on a trial, and from there just kicked on.
Sam Grace was instrumental really in bringing you here to Wycombe Wanderers. How big a role has he and the gaffer and Dobbo all played a part in your progress?
Oh, massive. I think Gracie, Dobbo, gaffer, all of them, all put them in the same bracket. Like, I couldn't thank them enough. Obviously Sam bringing me in and believing in my ability, and then Dobbo and gaffer, obviously gaffer especially giving me my championship debut and putting his belief in me when the first time Wycombe's ever been in the championship. It's a big jump.
What do you remember about that moment, crossing that white line for the first time? Because it was very soon after signing, wasn't it? Only the 5th game of the season, and the staff put their trust in you in that game against Millwall. Yeah,
I remember it clearly. Obviously, it's October the 17th. I remember the day before, on the Friday, Gaffer told me, look, you've earned yourself, you've earned your right to be on the bench tomorrow. And then obviously, what goes through your head is what it is. Obviously, I come on that day, I done well, just tried to play my game. I like to be free of mind when I'm playing and just do my thing, and then from there it's staying there basically.
What have been the other highlights during your time at Wycombe?
I think after my debut, it's 100% my goal against QPR. Like, obviously first professional goal, and the way it was done. It was scored in the dying moments of the game. And, I think it was a big game, and yeah, it's been special moments all of last season. All of last year was special to me. As much as obviously we had a down, getting relegated and that, but I think last year was so special to me.
I know that moment was such a special one against QPR. It really put your name on the map. The fans were so supportive of you on social media. I guess it was gutting not to have them there sort of singing your name, but you made up for that this season. And do you feel that the love you get off the Wycombe fans?
Yeah. Couldn't thank the fans enough. I see all of you lot's love, and obviously it's been a pity to not play in front of the fans last year, but this year I had a few setbacks at the beginning of the season, but I'm still yet to show what I can do. I think I've got much more to offer, and I just can't wait to show what I'm about this year, and hopefully get the team where we want to be.
You mentioned the other players earlier on. There are a lot of instrumental and influential figures here. Bayo, Bloom, so many other players. How big a part do they play? Because we do regularly see you chatting to them after training and learning little tricks and tips from them, and that must have played a big part as well. Yeah. Bayo, Blooms, all the generals. I can't thank them enough. They're like not only are they my teammates, but they're family to me. So they're constantly trying to improve me, little adding little things in my game which they know, because they've been in the game for so long, and just improving me day by day, and not only on the pitch but off the pitch. So how I react to things and just in general, man, they're just top guys. The whole club has really shown their faith in you, Rob and Pete Cooig as well, kind of being instrumental in this deal. Have you got any targets now for what you want to achieve in the rest of your career?
Yeah, my targets, obviously I've got my own individual targets, but right now I'm focused on being at Wycombe Wanderers and getting us to where we deserve to be, and I think that's the championship.
And why Wycombe Wanderers? What is it about this club that makes it such a special place to play?
I think just the way they've treated me since the day I got here, and obviously the gaffer plays a big part in this. The family, how we are as a team, I just think it's the perfect match for me, and I just want to show everyone what I'm about this year, and hopefully get to where we want to be.
And finally, there'll be a lot of the other young players seeing your development, seeing you sitting here with your new contract. Do you feel you can be a role model for these younger players? Because you are possibly, the first success story of this development squad. And there'll be so many other players wanting to follow in your footsteps, and you can help them achieve that.
Yeah, obviously, I hope I show everyone else out there that what this club is about. It's obvious what they've done with me, so it should be able to attract a lot of players out there, because it's a top club and it's clear what they want to do. Bring, as long as you impress and work hard and do what's required of you, you're going to get your chance.
Anis Mehmeti, a real inspiration and success story, and you can just imagine, can't you, the club becoming some sort of conveyor belt, and people like Sam Grace, really talent spotting and nurturing these young, exciting players.
And I think what's great about it is that not even for the players that we have currently, but actually for the players that maybe our scouts are identifying at the moment, and then communicating that to the players or their parents or whoever and saying, oh, hello, I'm from Wycombe Wanderers, are you interested in coming for a trial or whatever? They'll look at somebody like Anis Mehmeti and think, well, look, it worked for him. Wycombe Wanderers picked him up, and and now he's playing regularly. He's signed a long-term contract at the club, and hopefully we'll think, well, yeah, that's a good place to be. And again, just the opinion of the club in football circles is clearly very, very highly thought of. Just the fact that so many players come back, and we've said that a lot, many times on the Wycombe Wanderers show, but the club is a good place to be. It looks after you, and I don't think you can say that about lots and lots of football clubs. Sadly, we are lucky in a way that we are unique. I think in the way that Gareth and Dobbo and the Coohigs look after people. Possibly we shouldn't be unique, but sadly we are one of the few clubs that are, a club that cares not only about your professional playing development, but also your development as a person. And
you mentioned parents as well. It's really nice that Anis's family were at the signing as well.
Yeah, really, really nice. Excellent for Anis. He's a nice guy. He quietly gets on with his business. And again, yes, he's one of those players. He's got the flashy skills, but he doesn't necessarily. He's not a flashy player, if you know what I mean.
Definitely. Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll catch up with manager Gareth Ainsworth, reflecting on recent events and looking ahead to the coming days as well. And the next game at Adams Park on Tuesday. We'll hear from Keith Mead next, here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll catch up with manager Gareth Ainsworth. We'll reflect on the signing of Anis Mehmeti, his new contract, and also find out what the manager and the players will be doing on their weekend off. Well, sort of off. They're not in the FA Cup, of course, so they're not playing this Saturday. Next in League One action next Tuesday night at home to Burton Albion in what's been designated the Rainbow Laces game. More on that a little later on as well. But first, continuing in our series of catching up with Wycombe Wanderers former stars, thanks to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we hear from Keith Mead, a central defender from the 1970s, played a key role in many, many games, including a famous FA Cup tie. And here's how he first became a Wanderer.
I wish I could remember the year precisely. I think it was 72, around there. And I met Brian, and John Delaney had said to me before, well, why don't you come and join us? And I thought, that's interesting. I met Brian, and we met somewhere in Marlow, that sort of location, and I was happy to sign up, and it all kicked off from there, really. I'm in hindsight, I'm just so grateful to be given the opportunity to be part of such a successful sort of setup, really. It was everything I could have wished for.
I bet you couldn't have imagined you'd have stayed for so long either.
Well, I think once you got there, and it's the players and the crowd and the committee, the whole thing was just like an extended family, really. It was certainly some of the most happiest times of my career. That's for sure. No question about it.
Oh, and you speak to former players from different generations, and they all say, "Oh yeah, our group had great camaraderie." But the team that you were part of around those times does seem especially to apply to.
Certainly. I mean, the group of players that I was joining, people like, Delaney, Maskell, Holyfield, people like that, Terry Reardon. I mean, they were just a great, great crowd of guys, apart from being, super, super players, I've said it before, and I've known, but I've said to people that, I felt a bit like a mongrel at Crufts, really, when I rocked up and thought, wow, this is a lovely setup, I felt very privileged and honoured to really be part of it, if I'm honest.
I understand you're a bit of a practical joker in the dressing room, though.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got it. I was always the one that did things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was the one that tried to lighten the mood. Brian, I remember when we were playing in a cup tie at Cardiff, and he said, liven them up. He said, tell him a few stories. It's dead as a dodo in there. Right, okay. So, I suppose I was the one that had to sort of just lighten the mood and things, which I never minded doing, frankly.
Every dressing room needs someone like that.
Absolutely. I sat in a hot bath, Maskell will probably tell you, and I got in the bath, and it was absolutely baking. And I sat there up at the, it doesn't happen now, does it? But I sat up, in water up to my neck. And Mask said to me, what's it like? I said, lovely, absolutely fantastic, because obviously underneath it was cooler. He hopped in. It was absolutely burning me. The water was so hot. Oh dear, I couldn't stop laughing, But anyway, that's the sort of stupid things that I did, but there we are.
It's fantastic that you can look back on those sort of occasions, and obviously off pitch, off the pitch activities as well. But on the pitch as well, there must be so many great memories that you have from being key parts of the side. Not least we've got the FA Cup second round coming up this weekend, which your side obviously got further than.
Yes, we did. Yeah. I mean, we beat Football League sides to get there. Quite Bournemouth and people like that, and you think to yourself, wow, it really was something. And then to play at Lokes Park, then I mean, I think there must have been about 15,000 there, when we played. It certainly. I mean, I suppose looking back, we really should have won at Lokes Park. We had the opportunity, but there we are. We lost in pretty well the closing stages of the game, of the replay. But and at that time, there was Middlesbrough, top of what would now be the Premiership. No,
absolutely, quite a moment of pride for everyone connected with that game, or two games, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it just showed you that the quality of people and players that we had. I mean, when really put against it, we came out on top. I mean, it was a very successful time to be at the club, and it was just wonderful to be part of it, I must say.
And not just the FA Cup, it's in titles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Anglo-Italian Cup. I mean, how was that for being pathfinders? There was a brand new competition, and I think the top non-league, we were considered, the top non-league club, I think, at the time in England, and played Monza in a two-legged affair, and I mean, that was a first, wonderful, that's pushing the boat out of it, isn't it, really?
No, definitely. And we've spoken to Brian Lee on the show as well before, but what was he like to play under?
Well, I mean, he was a huge influence on us all, really. A wonderful guy. And I think he was the one that took the club and into the direction, and was the way, started the whole thing off. It was great. He and John Reardon, the whole setup, it wasn't just the players, it was the whole team behind as well. It was a wonderful time to have been playing, that's for sure.
I understand today would have been John's 88th birthday, so a fantastic contributor to the club generally.
Oh, 88, gee whiz, yeah. We're not going to go down the age route, I think,
No, so sure.
Well, I'm 76 now, and I keep, say to when I speak to John and people like John Maskell, that we seem to lose people every year, which is such a sad thing. I think we struggle to get a five-a-side team out now at the moment, Colin. I don't know.
Does it feel like a long time ago, though, or does it feel quite recent when you were playing?
Yes, it does feel a long time ago. I don't think football is quite the game that it was when we played. If I'm being honest, the game has changed, and for obvious reasons, past COVID and just the way that things are now refereed, and I don't think that a lot of the things that went on when we played would be considered, tackles now. And of course we now have the issue of heading. We don't know where that's going to go. They're restricting children, I think, at school from heading a ball, aren't they? And I suppose
that's right. Yeah.
I suppose we spent time heading balls. That was part and parcel of it, because we didn't know any different, really.
No, of course, and you see photographs from the times you were playing, and as you say, so much seems so different. You mentioned the balls. Obviously, years ago the balls were even heavier, and the kits are much more basic, and obviously as well, during your time the players were all had other jobs too.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can imagine when we had to play the replay for Middlesbrough, everybody was rushing around because it all had to go back and speak to our bosses and say, look, can we take a day off? Well, what for? Well, because, we're playing football. And you can imagine it didn't go down too well. And we all had to sort of, we had, people rushing around, and I can remember getting back to Wycombe, I think, on the coach about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, rushed back home, got in the shower, got changed and went straight into work. That was it. That was how it was.
No, it's a great sort of consideration, isn't it? To think about all the travel as well, and as you say, sort of the training and games as well.
Well, yes, you sort of, what you did, you sort of built your sort of working life a little bit around the fixtures. Tuesday night I've got to be at Walthamstow Avenue. Oh, right, crikey, we've got to be there for 6. Oh, dear me, And so you've got to try and organise yourself so that you could do that, and that's how it was. But it still wouldn't have changed it, Marky. I mean, we'd play probably most weeks twice a week and train on Thursday, sometimes train on a Sunday. So, all in all, it was pretty full on,
And as someone obviously at the heart of the defence, you must have enjoyed obviously that position and the contribution that you played in games.
Yeah, I don't know. That's true. I was a central defender, and I loved it. Really loved it. And it was just wonderful to be part of such a team. With Paul Birdseye, with Maskell, and it was just, I could go on there. They were all wonderful, wonderful players.
And so many fans, obviously, still today talk about what you achieved and how great it was to be watching that team as well.
Well, that's really nice. Occasionally I've been up to the odd game and watched the game, and people have come up and spoken to me and have said, they're lifelong supporters, and had, said they just remembered all these things, and you realise that you've sort of, maybe in a funny sort of way, had a bit of an impact on people, haven't you? It's fantastic, really.
And obviously not too much in the way of goal scoring, but I understand you got the first goal of the 74-75 season against Kingstonian, of course, your local side, which really sort of started off that magnificent campaign.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Yes, and I'd like to think that wasn't probably one of my greatest. Goal scoring wasn't my greatest achievement, really. I was better at keeping them out, I think.
No, absolutely. So, how was how did your path end after your time at the club? What did you end up doing post your time at Wycombe?
I played for a little bit at Kingstonian and just helped a bit and then helped a bit on the coaching side, and then thought, well, that's it really. It wasn't quite. Well, it just wasn't the same as being at Wycombe really, and. I I missed Wycombe, and everything else was sort of second best, if you know what I mean. I was happy to have done it, but I just decided I ran a couple of marathons, ran a couple of half, or more than a few half marathons, just to say I'd done it, and that I'd finish, and always looking to do something sort of a little bit different in that case, yeah. So.
And pleasing that your daughter's followed in your sporting footsteps.
Well, yes, she's an alpine skier, and has done extremely well. She's been national champion, which has been great, junior champion, and now she's in the senior ranks now and working hard obviously Beijing is the Olympics, but she'd had a nasty break a couple of years ago, which she's coming back from now, and had a little bit of a setback last week. But we're hoping that she's still able to train, and hopefully, she's infinitely more talented than me. I can tell you, infinitely more talented.
There aren't many careers where you're reported to be going downhill very fast, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely, yes, which she does. If you're looking at 100 or over 100 kilometres an hour on a pair of skis, you just can't envisage that, can you? Really?
No, definitely. And just finally, what's your main overall reflections of your time at the club?
I think it was probably one of the happiest times in my life. I loved being at the club. There was just I can't think of any downsides, Colin, if I'm being honest. It was just great. The players were nice. All the committee were nice. We were successful, which is always great. We had wonderful crowds. I mean, we were playing to crowds when I suppose other clubs were just had a handful of supporters, really. We were very, very fortunate, weren't we? When you think about it. And then, the club organised sort of end-of-season tours, for a week, and I suddenly realised that we went to places like Greece and played there, Yugoslavia, Cyprus, Italy, Malta. I mean, it was just wonderful. One other side did that, and it was all beautifully organised. We'd all then have the opportunity to look at players that were hopefully going to sign the following season. But I mean, when you think of that, that's quite something, isn't it?
No, definitely. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you and share your memories. Thank you so much for your time.
Not at all. Not at all, and thanked everybody for the support they gave me. When I was playing, couldn't have done without them.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
You're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Fantastic to chat to Keith Mead. Make sure you keep listening to Wycombe Wanderers Show, which is available in podcast form, where you can catch up with previous episodes and re-listen, if you haven't heard them, to many of the club legends, former players and managers that we've spoken to in previous episodes. They're available online, and we'll be catching up with more throughout the season as well. Still to come, we'll catch up with Bob once again, a bit of a look ahead to what's to come, including a roundup of Wycombe Wanderers women. But first, we've been speaking to manager Gareth Ainsworth to see how this week's been different in terms of preparation, with no game on Saturday for the Blues after 7 points from a possible 9.
We've given the boys a couple of days off with no FA Cup game coming up. I think it's a welcome time to get a few of the knocks back, a few of the injuries back, and obviously it's nice to have a weekend off, although believe me, I wanted to be playing at Lincoln away. That would have been a great game for us, and going back to Lincoln obviously is always nice for me. But I think we're going to use the days now, half to recover the boys and to get them physically in great shape for the Christmas period. Get a few of the injuries back, make sure we're not overtraining anyone, and everyone's in peak form for Monday, Tuesday, when obviously we entertain Burton, and then shortly after Wimbledon and Bolton before the mental Christmas period. So it's going to be used wisely this week, but we're still getting plenty of tactics into the boys and plenty of plenty of messages to them. But yeah, it's nice to have the weekend off for once.
Is it a welcome period in a way to kind of perhaps work on something that you wouldn't normally get the chance to, or, as you say, prepare for the busy upcoming fixtures?
Not really. I don't think we're working on too much because of we're using the week more for the physical side. We're trying to get the boys in tip-top shape for the Christmas period. I think historically Wycombe, under me especially, we've been victims of the Christmas period. Maybe a little bit of tiredness and injuries have crept in. We've had a couple of suspensions in the past which didn't help us, and I think this year we're going to approach Christmas a little bit differently. We're going to try something new, and yeah, it's been a real eye-opener, to the league so far, and the intensity and the teams in the league. They're very high standard. We're going to have to be very good around Christmas if we're going to, stay around the right end of the league. That's the intention.
And obviously you must be very pleased with the way things are going at the moment, sort of joint top of the table, if you like, and I've heard many people say that 7 points from the last available 9 is a very decent return.
Yeah, it's a very decent return, especially after there was panic amongst everyone else outside this building. There's no panic from anyone inside the building. We know what we are. But I think, we've got to remember not where we are too much, but where we were, as a club. And I think that has got to settle a few nerves. And, this club's at the top end of League One now. If we'd have said that to people 5, 6, 7 years ago, they'd have said, no chance, you wouldn't be able to do that, and we are doing it, and we're proof that we're doing it, and it's reality. I just don't ever panic, and don't ever lose my calm after any results, but it felt like a little bit of worry and a little bit of panic outside of the training ground, and that was and the stadium. They were great. All the staff and the players and my staff all know where we are. Just want the fans to know that we're going to have a couple of defeats. We're going to have 1 or 2, and Ipswich and Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth, we definitely deserve to win that game, and Ipswich, we maybe deserve something out of that one. So I think performance, as we always look at, is important. My most worrying performance probably is Sheffield Wednesday out of the 5 games we've just played, because I thought we were just under par, but still we got something away from home. So I think the message is just everyone keep calm and believe in the process that we're doing, because it was never built in a day, as somebody once said, but we're trying to build it as quick as we can, and with Rob and Pete behind me, as well as a fantastic staff and playing staff, and we've got the building blocks, structurally sound, and I think that with what we've done contract-wise over the last week, proves that this club is no longer a club that just gets rid of its best players or gets bullied by anyone else. We're really in a good place, and I'm really pleased with the return of points, but also pleased that we're back on track. That the aim of the season is always to finish in that top 6, and we're still in there.
Annis' signing is such a good news story, and everyone around the club, I'm sure, connected with the club, and obviously supporters. It seems to give them such a real lift, and you must be so pleased as well that that's done.
Absolutely. I've been trying to get Annis over the line for quite some time now, but various things behind the scenes, not from the club side, I might add, but there's also agents and obviously and just situations, and it was nice to be able to get Annis' parents in and show them this club we've become. I'm talking to you right now in our fantastic new media suite, and that's where we did all the signing with Annis, and it was nice to be able to show his parents that we're growing so much as a club. That the pitches look fantastic, the facility's great, and we'll look after that boy. And I think that was really important, as well as his agent, who we wanted him to sign here because he knows he's going to get minutes, he's going to become a valuable asset, which is a win-win for everybody. But as I say, I think the step for me was signing somebody that we really want, but also the clubs want as well. It was brilliant to be in that, able to offer Annis a contract that he was happy with, and we could keep one of our best assets. He's an exciting player, and needs to learn plenty still, and he knows that. And I think that's part of his signing here, But going forward, and when he gets the ball at his feet, there's not many better than him in tight situations, and we're going to work hard on all sides of his game and hopefully have the complete player that's going to be a huge asset for Wycombe Wanderers.
It's such a great story, isn't it, that he was brought in for the development squad and obviously impressed in training, and about a month later was in the first team and has really caught the fans' imagination since.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in the first development day that I watched last season, and I said to Sam Grace, I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "It's Anis." And I just remember him saying, "It's Anis," and I just thought he's way better than this group. And then we signed him on the initial development contract. Sam did a great job with him, and obviously we sort of drip fed him into the first team. But some of the training sessions he put on were fantastic. You know, he was really at home training with the first team. And then I think learning the discipline of football, that it's not all about just getting on the ball and going forward. You know, he's got to be disciplined jobs. All clubs do it, you know, right from the top to the bottom, that you've got to have this structure, this base that you work from. And he started learning that. So from the story from this Albanian boy who lives over in East London, who was playing probably in the streets and in the cages that are fantastic for these young boys to learn in. You know, that's why he's got such great feet. You know, you go into some of these built-up areas and they have these little AstroTurf pitches that there's 30 lads on it all playing. Anis was one of those, you know, and I think he learned quick how to deal with tight spaces. So that's a fantastic asset for him to have. But now opening him onto a big pitch and part of a team, he's learning plenty. But brilliant story, honestly. I don't think it'll be long before we see him with full Albanian caps. You know, I think he's well worthy of that, and again to add to our international roster would be fantastic. But one step at a time. Let's keep him playing well and keep him scoring goals, because he definitely was a star man at Plymouth last week.
And really pleasing for what you're building as well, that he's keen to stay at Wycombe and sees that as a good fit.
Yeah, I think both have said, both parties have said that it's the right fit, and for me to be able to attract players, you know, honestly, geography has always been in our favour. We're close to London, and I always think about how do people get to Grimsby or Morecambe or Exeter, you know, how do they attract players? We've always had London as the geography, and that's always been helpful for us, but there needs to be more than that now. Players who are willing to move anywhere, who want to develop, they want to see development, they want to see where they're going to develop, and we're really moving forward with this facility and the plans we have in place, the analysis, the whole package here is just brilliant. And it's great that Anis could see that, and not just Anis, some of the other young boys and some of the older boys who want to be here and see what we're building. It's a great place to be, and Anis is a very welcome member of the squad.
And obviously Tuesday against Burton, a great opportunity for the fans to come out and give Anis a great sort of reception as well.
That'll be brilliant, you know. I mean, it's a Tuesday night in December. I know it's cold, and I know it's there won't be too much on. But if you can tear yourself away from either Christmas shopping or whatever's on the TV, then get down to Wycombe Wanderers, because again, the spirit I saw in the town when I switched the lights on was fantastic. The community spirit, we have those people. It's just getting them all together on a Tuesday against Burton. Is it a game where we need them? You know, Portsmouth at home on a Saturday is always going to be full. Burton on a Tuesday night, get down there, get behind your team, and see some fantastic football and some fantastic footballers. Because, like I say, we need the fans as much as the points, and they help. They're the 12th man. I know it's a cliche, but you really are. And it was brilliant to see so many travel up to Sheffield Wednesday and travel home with a nice point in the bag, because that was well worth the trip.
And strange, obviously, that you've played Burton very recently, but obviously this will be a very different game due to the cup context of it. Yeah,
I mean, I think there'll be 10 or 11 changes in my team, you know, and we'll approach this in a totally different way. But the Burton game was a great eye-opener for some of the development players to show what they could do. But really, really pleased with where we are development-wise and first team-wise, and hopefully the two will mix quite often during the season. But I'll be as strong as I can against Burton. We want those points.
And just finally, I know that the game has been designated the Rainbow Laces game, which is obviously something as a club and yourself you're really keen to support.
Absolutely. If there's one thing you can be at Wycombe, it's totally be yourself. we are so open as a club to absolutely everything. And like I say, we're proud to be one of the first clubs to sign the charter. Matt Bloomfield a few years ago signed the charter, and it just amazes me still that we live in an age where discrimination happens on all levels of all different things, and hopefully one day that could all be eradicated. But this night will go a big way in saying, yep, be who you want to be, especially at Wycombe Wanderers, and we support everything that comes that way.
And can I just ask how you'll be spending your Saturday?
It will be a day off, but we'll be in Sunday, Monday, which is very rare for me. I don't really often get the boys in on Sunday because they give me everything on Saturday. But I will be watching football without a doubt. You know, whether I go to a game or not, with the age of the internet and live streaming, and you can do it in the comfort of your own home. But I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get dragged to either Burton or Wimbledon or somewhere nearby just to see the opposition, just to give me some final prep notes. But I've given everyone else the day off. They can all relax and bring all your energy Sunday, Monday, and especially Tuesday evening.
Really good to hear Gareth talking about the Rainbow Laces campaign. I spoke to him about inclusivity at the club at the end of our last season's interview, and he was very, very positive about everybody and anybody actually being part of the Wycombe Wanderers family, which I think is lovely, and lovely that the club are on board with the Rainbow Laces campaign. It's
a really good thing to promote, isn't it? And listening to him speak as well, you know, he generally doesn't seem to understand why there is discrimination.
And that's what I think is so cool about Gareth, actually, is that when you talk to him about anything like that, he comes at it from that point of view, which I always think is really, really refreshing. I remember speaking to him about the Black Lives Matter campaign and the taking the knee, and he's just very much like, he's 100% on board, and why wouldn't you be? And it's just like, it's great to hear that actually that we have a manager who is just so wonderful. In so many ways.
He spoke to us on the show as well when Len Worley had his medical emergency, and he just seemed so shocked that it was sort of mentioned or covered in the news, even that he'd reached out and telephoned him. That's what you would do, surely.
Yes, yeah, no, he's great, isn't he?
Absolutely. Please stay longer.
Exactly that. Yes, please QPR and Blackburn.
Because he said at the Christmas light switch on, he's had offers.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure he has.
Yes. Have you had offers?
No.
No, nor have I.
What a surprise. Yes.
I must mention Wycombe Wanderers ladies, of course, this week as well, who or last week, I should say, have enjoyed last weekend. This is still this week? Sunday it was. I think it depends when your week starts, I suppose.
Yes. Don't ask someone who's a bit jet-lagged.
No, of course. Second league win of the season, though.
Yeah, and fantastically, they're climbing the table. So they are now 6th in the... what's it called? Sorry. Southern Region Women's Football League Premier Division. Sorry, but it's got a lot of titles, hasn't it? Goodness me.
Absolutely.
It's not very snappy.
Lucky there's not a sponsor as well.
So yes, they are. They've played 8 games, currently have 7 points, but they are above now the Winchester City Flyers, who sound more like an ice hockey team.
Yeah.
Oxford City and Woodley United, and it was Woodley who they beat on Sunday 2-1. Was it 2-1 or was it 2-0?
2-0.
Because they lost to them 2-1.
That's
why I was slightly getting confused. And next up, they are playing the Winchester City Flyers.
The ice hockey team.
I was just going to say, who might be bringing their pads and their hockey sticks, which will be a bit of a surprise.
Quite violent ice hockey, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yes, yeah. You might see a few red cards. But that is at the Flackwell Heath campus of the Amersham and Wycombe College. Kicks off at 2 o'clock, and that is on Sunday afternoon.
So you heard Gareth mention that he was probably having Saturday off, but getting the players in Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. I reckon he's got like a guitar, a Christmas-like guitar.
Yeah, definitely.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah. Instead of a wreath on the front door.
It's going to be a bit strange this weekend. It's going to be one of those, what are we going to do this weekend?
Watch the FA Cup.
Twiddling your thumbs, thinking...
Wish if only.
If only we'd beaten Hartlepool. But then we do have a game on Tuesday night.
Yes, Burton again, but obviously very different to...
I hope so.
Well, as Gareth said, he'll make at least 10, 11 changes from the previous Burton encounter in the Cup.
Well, hopefully that will make all of the difference, and hopefully Aaron Amadi Holloway won't be such a thorn in our side as he was last time when we played Burton Albion.
Good name, though. You get a lot on Scrabble for that, wouldn't you?
You do, yeah. Well, because when he was with us, he just used to be Aaron Holloway, didn't he?
That's
and then
right.
Suddenly the Amadi came along, as if they were trying to sell extra letters in the club shop. Aaron, would you mind us putting your middle name in just so we can sell a few more shirts. No, I'm sure they didn't say that. But yes, so we face Burton Albion, currently mid-table at the moment. One of those games that you do look at already and think, well, yes, if we're serious about this promotion business, that's a game that we should be winning at home. Imagine this is going to be rather cold. So yes, the battery-operated trousers will be in operation on Tuesday night. Kick-off, of course, 7:45 at Adams Park.
Should we be concerned, if concerned isn't too strong a word, that we've played a couple of games more than many other teams around us?
No, because I think it all shakes down at the end of the season. I think, once you've got to the sort of 40-game mark, if then there are a couple of teams... But, I mean, again, look at last season with regards to Rotherham.
True.
And I know that was due to COVID and that they had a ridiculous amount of games, but, it didn't help them in the end. So, no, I don't think we have to worry too much about it.
In a way, it's better to have played the games, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. Points in the bank, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And we do now, of course, have 2 home games in a row, because after Burton Albion, AFC Wimbledon are the visitors to Adams Park on December the 11th.
So you asked what Gareth will be doing over the weekend. He'll be watching either AFC Wimbledon or Burton.
Yeah, he will indeed, yes, along with opening his advent calendars and whatever.
And singing. Probably singing, I imagine.
But are they selling advent calendars in the Wycombe Wanderers shop? Well, it's a bit late now.
I was going to say, probably reduced now.
Exactly, half price. You open it up. Oh, look. Door number 2 today, it's Anis Mehmeti. No, actually, it'd be Jack Grimmer, wouldn't it, number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
1-3.
1-3. That's exactly what I was thinking.
The Wycombe Wanderers Advent Calendar. Why has no one thought of that? We should send you to the club shop, actually. We should our Christmas edition, send you around for the club shop to get some ideas.
I'm full of ideas. Advent calendars, battery-operated trousers. That's what you need. What have we got coming up next week? Well, we will be reflecting on the game against Burton Albion. We'll be looking forward to the game against AFC Wimbledon. We'll be hearing from Gareth Ainsworth. And we'll be finding out how Wycombe Wanderers ladies got on against the Winchester City Flyers ice hockey team.
Wycombe Wanderers women, they're called now.
Oh, sorry. Wycombe Wanderers women. I know that they listen and they're on their way to training.
And now, at this time of the programme, we'd like to leave the final words to Bob.
We've got all the way through the entire programme this week, and I've not once mentioned dog leagues.